That's good. So that's fantastic. So you guys are now not in control of the direction that you're floating,
Yep.
or that you're moving, and I'm going to say you guys probably have about. I mean, do you want to do anything immediately, or is it more like an hour passes, you gather yourselves together, and you kind of
Um,
regroup? Like, what's going to
yeah,
happen
I guess
straight after all this?
I'm gonna straight away start giving Ellis medical attention. You said it would take about half an hour.
I need your medical attention, Callaway.
Cool. And so you're able, so you scoop him up and you take him somewhere in the ship, or like what you're going to treat him there on the spot, or like what's?
I assume we have like a fold down stretcher or like fold down sick bed or something.
Nah, not really. It'd be just there's a couple of beds in the sleeping quarters. I guess there's like
Right.
a small six. On one wall is 3 bunks, on another wall is 3 bunks,
Yeah.
sort of thing. So
How much oxygen do we have left?
that's a good question. How long was the airlock open?
I would say.
It feels like
Absolute
about
max 30 seconds, I would have thought.
I was going to say 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how we calculate this?
There's probably a proper way to do it, like the volume of the
Slightly-
ship and all this shit.
Slightly more time than it takes to fix the engines.
All right, so let's because you guys had about a week's worth of oxygen left.
Yeah. Also, keep
there's-
in mind, it might, sorry to interrupt, but it might not be an element of just straight, we run out of oxygen, we die. There's probably CO2 scrubbers. So without going into the sci-fi or whatever the hell, but
I see what you mean. It's
can
like
we
the
can-
oxygen tanks isn't the end, isn't death.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
probably replenish it. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
spitballing.
Yeah, that's cool. So, right. So, in terms of, let's just take a step back. Callaway's treating Ellis on one of the bunks. There was a successful medical roll before, so we'll stick with that. So Ellis regains. I'll give you 1 point back.
And he can move around and stuff again.
Yeah,
I've been freed from my bonds.
Yeah, that too. But you're a bit groggy and stuff, but you can get around again. And
I have to spend my psi point too. Sorry.
Yep, good pick up. Thanks. And then guys just sort of like spending maybe like the first 10 minutes after all of that happening, just like looking at all the readouts across the pilot dash. The thrusters are still flashing on like sort of flashing between 0 and 1% sort of battery life, or whatever we want to call that, like operational capacity. You're looking at all these sort of other readouts and stuff. There's a slight bit of damage to the landing gear, and there's a few other sort of fairly innocuous readings that sort of say there's a bit of damage here, a bit of damage there. Nothing critical, which is fantastic. The big thing that you probably end up staring at for about a couple of minutes, just zoning out on, is the oxygen. Is the air reading, which is roll a d50.
Oh shit, guys.
Plus, wait,
Oh,
did you roll it?
yeah,
No.
I just did it.
D50 plus 15.
So 20.
Ooh.
So you're at 20%
Okay.
Remaining
Okay.
oxygen.
remaining oxygen. And I guess if you were to then calculate that as how many days and stuff like that, you could probably say it's closer to. Let's have a quick think about this. Let's do this roughly, right? You've been in space for a week.
Was that like half? Because we need enough to get back. So
Yeah, and there would have been about maybe, and there would have been a little bit excess, so maybe like 5 or 10% excess in that. So, so you would have been like 45%. After that, so yeah, you probably got about 3 days left.
okay.
And you're yet to complete the mission of finding the source of this energy disturbance.
And
you have to repair the ship and get back off this and get back to Earth. Back to the colony? Sorry, not Earth. Terra Nova. Did you remember? I'm gonna have to dig back through the old session recording. But do you remember how long it took us to get from Terra Nova to the rim?
I think you stipulated about a day and a half to fly out to the ice belt.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's
Rick,
like basically. Sorry, before we just move on, guys looking at this and realizing there's a lot to do and very little air.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Rick, didn't you say before that most ships would have a way to replenish air or oxygen?
I'm just, hopefully. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know how they work. So all I know is like CO2 scrubbers are a thing that happens.
CO2 scrubber implies like chemically scrubbing the carbon out so you get O2 back.
Yeah, that's the theory, I think. I don't know if it works.
I'm batting for the wrong team by
case.
saying this, but would a scout ship that's like basically a glorified transport, short distance travel, have a need for that when they can just call for emergency aid?
Unless it was... Look, the only thing I can think of is maybe we pull something out of our ass and find a couple of CO2 scrubbers that are not working stashed away, and maybe Ellis can fix them.
Is there a way to jury rig CO2 scrubbers?
I don't know, because I don't know how they work.
It depends if it's a mechanical thing, maybe, but the CO2 scrubbing sounds like a chemical process to me. Like it'd be like filters and like complicated shit.
Mm. Yeah, it doesn't sound like.
Do we have any way of getting in touch with the council of the colony or anyone back there?
That's a good thought.
So you guys knew that there was a lot of remember you were looking at the sensor logs from the trips earlier, and there was a lot of interference when you were out there, when those previous sort of scout ships were out there, and effectively impeding any sort of long range communications and things like that. So you would know that there is no simple way of getting dispatching any sort of messages.
Okay. Hang on.
Well,
1 sec. Someone's knocking on my door.
All right.
Just to talk a bit meta and whatnot here. I should probably wait for Parker to get back.
So I'm just trying to figure out how much fuel we actually would have left. So if we have like 20% total capacity right now.
That's not fuel, that's oxygen.
Sorry, oxygen? About 20%.
I mean, just calling it roughly like that, yeah.
Cool. So I imagine it's like 2 or 3 days because it was a 2 week. I think we said we were stocked for like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. So I think I called it to be about 3 days worth of air.
Right. So we have a day and a half to do stuff, and that would leave us with a theoretical minimum amount of oxygen left to get back.
That's to get back to Terra Nova. There are research outposts and stuff like that probably closer. Depending on where you guys end up on this drift and where planets are at the moment and stuff like that. So if they're on if you're on if you're at 90 degrees and all the planets are sort of floating around on the opposite side, around 180 190 degrees, whatever, well, then that's do you know what I mean? It's like, well, we're gonna have to play some tricky rolls with navigation or something like that.
We haven't even touched the data from Uber Pulse, which could feasibly have enough information in it to actually have like as something as drilled down as maybe coordinates within the area, so we don't need a reference frame like directionally to find them again. Does that make sense? So even though we're drifting.
Say that once more.
So maybe the mega pulse we did has enough information, like the information is granular enough that we have coordinates for outposts, not just so we don't need a cardinal direction to refer to because we're spinning on this asteroid. We actually need to just know go to coordinates, X, Y, Z, and we won't get lost in deep space forever.
Also, keep in mind that the asteroid isn't necessarily rogue; it might be following an orbit.
Yeah. Okay. Fair call.
Which is that's probably most likely that's what's happening.
Cool.
Because it's part of this belt. I'd had no intentions of it being rogue. So the good point though that you brought up is that you've got this wealth of data that got pulled in from this hyperpulse, which pretty much put you guys in this position. So good. This episode's been great.
We needed better scanners.
All right. So before we go further, I would like to leave the cockpit. I'm saying cockpit because it's tiny and it's probably open. So, you know, and I bounce into where Ellis is presumably lying down or whatever. And I, you know, fold my arms, lean against the door frame or the wall or whatever, and say, all right, bad news is we got 3 days of oxygen left. Good news is we won't starve in that time because I'm going to eat Ellis.
Ellis chuckles. You can fix the thrusters then, I take it.
Yeah, just tell me how to do it.
Ah, okay. You just reverse the polarity and... No. 3 days. 3 days. I mean, we can get back if we absolutely have to. If I can fix the thrusters in time, and if we've taken no other damage on landing. Otherwise, there might be... Talk to Callaway. He's got all the data from the pulse that was so successful, so maybe there's someone out here that can help us with our oxygen woes.
I haven't had much of a chance to look at the data since your pulse screwed us.
But now, my friend, you can. I'll work on the thrusters if you go through that data. Deal? Deal. And then Ellis tries to get up off the bunk, but he's still a bit, like, messed up, so he's like, ugh. In a minute.
This guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna reluctantly grab a compad and start getting stuck into this data.
All right, so I'm gonna basically make a rule here that Ellis is going to be able to. There's no skill check required here. It's more of a time check. How long is it going to take?
Fixing
the thrusters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in that case, if we're, let me just quickly think about this. Roll a D36.
That's ours. I know stuff.
It's days. You're all dead.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Oh.
Okay.
That's
right.
low.
So
Shit.
it's gonna take you. Well, I had in my mind it's gonna take you a minimum of 10 hours. So
This
like,
guy.
and then whatever this is. So that's good, but it's not.
Still, that's pretty good.
When you have 3 days of oxygen, that's like if that's 14 hours then, right?
Yeah.
So we've spent we used a third of our oxygen just fixing the ship. Because we had 3 days of oxygen left, ballpark.
We've got enough time to get back, basically, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Or hit one of the research stations nearby.
Yeah, which is
depending on the orbit of the asteroid that we're sitting on.
Yeah. So, okay, so Ellis just, after a minute of resting and stuff, like, camera cuts to, like Ellis goes to stand up and then he goes, in a minute. Ellis, the camera cuts to like a digital clock on the dashboard, which sort of is going at like hyperspeed, just ticking over time. And there's like these really bad sort of like fade-ins of like Callaway sitting on a bed, just like punching through data on a compad and you're feeling this killer 80s soundtrack happening. And it's like, it's everyone's working really hard. Ellis is now wearing protection and just not putting himself into too much risk there. You can see that he's taking it a bit slower and a bit more carefully. What's Guy doing in this montage? Spacebook?
Just
Space Boy?
Just hammering molten metal on an anvil with no shirt on.
That would be him checking to see if anyone's looking. No, honestly, he's gonna even if he's getting in the way as a result, he's gonna try and help Ellis.
Okay, so roll a d8.
Okay.
You just added time, I reckon.
I'm
Would
sorry. Even
Would
if
he be
it's
like
just
peering? Would he be like peering over my shoulder as
Wait.
well? Like, interesting.
Yeah. before you roll the d8. You rolled it. Okay, that's right. Before you roll that, you actually have tech astronautic, so let's get a skill check from you and see if you can help.
okay.
Help us.
Intelligence?
What do you think, Ellis? Intelligence or Dex?
Are you like backseat? If you're like backseat helping, probably intelligence. I guess.
But if you're actually getting hands dirty, then it's Dex.
Yeah.
So is it a knowledge thing or is it
Dex then?
Yeah. Okay.
Dex.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably like not doing the main part, but like he's going. All right, can you hold back the something or other conduit grid?
Yeah,
and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, and he'll be like, yeah, can you just pin this flange conduit to the yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, I know how to plug that into there.
Yeah, and reverse the flanging. Okay.
Yeah.
Unassisted, I assume?
Unassisted. I think we're gonna give you a +1 for your ego. From having pulled this shit off.
Yeah. Hey guys, remember when I high-fived the universe?
Whoa!
How you doing?
Damn.
How do you like that?
Shit.
That's
You like
natural
it?
12 plus 1.
Damn.
Fuck you, roll 20, making my life difficult. So in that case, I think I'm gonna let you yeah. So we said 14 hours, so it's now 6 hours.
Oh.
Mate.
So we're going through the whole thing, and Ellis is like, this shit is just like the shop. Like, he's just thinking to himself, this is the same shenanigans, just in a ship instead of at home. And he's like, yeah, hold back the flange coupling conduit over there. And then he looks back 5 minutes later, and he's actually doing the thing. Like, he's actually somehow staying focused, and is surprised by the fact that everything's going really smoothly.
Yes. Awesome. Well, that makes that montage even cooler. And I still like the fact that he's managed to save all this time and he's still looking over Calloway's shoulder going, interesting. That's good. He's like having a break from helping Ellis and
Like wiping sweat off his brow, like,
and just doing like one of those leaning in over the shoulder and like
yeah.
Oh, and my shirt is off, by the way.
It'd have to be after what you just did.
Yeah, and I've gotten grease on me where I not necessarily should have. So I've been purposely careless to look cool.
All right, I love it. So I need a science roll from Calloway before we wrap it up for this session.
Mate.
So
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on, baby.
Yes.
Ooh.
Mate.
Cool. Right. So I'm just having a quick think. Ding, 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 ding.
Pretty much.
All right. So the 6 hours pass, and you get really pissed off with Guy coming in and like dripping sweat over you as he leans over to look at you on your shoulder, especially because you're like, that born to be alone type guy.
I assume his breath wouldn't be too clever either.
Clever breath. I like that.
So I actually want to invoke one of my traits or aspects. Sorry. Essentially, towards the end of this 6 hours, at one point, Guy comes over and Calloway rather loudly tells him to fuck off.
So you go
and sit back in that chair and be useless like you normally are.
Ooh,
Oh,
ouch.
I flex my surprising pecs at him.
Yeah, he's like
It's
surprisingly ripped.
Just to be like, what, mate?
I say, look, I'm just trying to read this stuff, and you keep coming over here and like breathing down my neck and just dripping sweat all over me. Like I know you're helping out with Ellis. Like I know you're not useless. I just can't deal with you being around me right now.
Awesome.
And I waltz away, still flexing my pecs.
Just like your arms are like out like this. You've got like invisible lat syndrome.
I'm going to give you a half a point in fate for that, but you can only spend full fate points, by the way. I'm going to give you half a point, but that also means that to earn that half a point, I'm going to basically compel Guy to have if you were to nominally rank Callaway's reputation with numbers, it would now be at a -1.
Okay.
So Powers now, take on board that's a pretty serious diss he's given you. So don't just laugh it off. Like there's some tension building there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what my look is for. It's like, that's all right. You'll keep, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. But there is an air of seriousness there. Like you've pressed his buttons and he's fired back. And it's probably, you walk away thinking that, what, I wonder if it is wise to have the security detail pissed off with me. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not.
I fly the ship, baby.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, the thing is you've seen Callaway like polishing his knife and stuff like that. And he's got he knows how to like pull apart his sniper rifle and clean it and put it back together. And that kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies because you've got this 6-shooter with no bullets, which you bought bullets for before this trip, but you've got a 6-shooter that this guy.
I don't know how to fire. That's right.
Yeah, and this guy's the real deal and stuff. Yeah. So
I'm using every ounce of my capacity for denial to try and shove my fear for this man just in the back of my mind. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Cool. So the result of the analysis of the data, first of all, you know that there is more that you could probably glean from this, but it's going to take you like a week or two's worth of work on a real desktop computer that's got some grunt. So
i7 at least.
i7, version 97 or something like that, 9700, maybe 1020. But look, the data that you can pull out is you're looking for this energy source. This is the mission, right? What's the source of this energy disturbance? And you...
Dude, that mute again. Who's meant to hear this? I can't hear anyone now. Who's supposed to hear what? The viewers can't hear you. Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's just Space Master and Callaway.
Good lord.
That's fine. He's even cliffhanging the viewers. Hey, viewers. Look,
mate.
We didn't tell him to do this. He's taken the reins, and I don't approve or appreciate this. We're as invested in the story as you guys, so, like, not knowing shit on a meta level is breaking my little heart.
Mate, blue walls. That's all I can say.
He has to tell us, though, because we need to know where to point the dang thing. Like, where does the ship go? Oh, I'm just going to withhold information that'll save our lives. I gave that fucker the data.
Yeah. After this savage dissed me. I mean, let's not forget who landed the ship here.
Yeah.
Who high-fived, who just made out with the universe. What up?
I can't hear Ashberg. Can anyone hear Ashberg?
Yeah, I can hear him.
I can't hear him. This mute just breaks everything. Hang on. Space Master's trying to reload.
Yeah, here we go.
Now I got you. Jamesy?
Everyone... Yeah. I don't have Callaway or Guy.
Neither do I.
Oh, there's Guy. Speak to me.
Yo.
Yep.
Jamesy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So just so everyone knows, like the this montage finishes. There's a little outburst scene during the montage of Callaway like giving Guy a grilling, and Guy's walking away with his pecs dancing and stuff. And as the montage comes to an end, it slowly zooms in on Callaway on the data pad on the comm pad, and it gets really, really close to his face, and his eyebrows kind of like pop up a little bit, like, and then the scene cuts to Callaway walking back into the cockpit with Ellis, sort of like cleaning his meta tool, and Guy just like sort of doing maybe some pilot checks on the thrusters and stuff like that, because it's pretty much the battery meter is like flashing back to 75% sort of thing.
Yep.
And Callaway walks in, and as Callaway walks in, it's dead silent. And after a moment, the end of episode music starts to fade in.
Oh, god damn it!
No, it's just fading in. It's just fading in.
Good.
Callaway might have.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of like rubbing my chin as I walk in. I say, guys, I think the source of this disturbance might be a bit closer than we think.
I knew it! Son of a bitch!
Is the cliffhanger music now so loud that you can't hear the characters anymore?
No. It's still rising. There's still room for a little bit more dialogue.
How close?
If these calculations are correct, we're on it.
End. Boom.
This is bullshit.
I knew it. As soon as we hatched the plan to land on the iceroid, I was like, "Oh, please let that be the aliens." Yes.
Shit. Now, for next episode, we have to figure out how to get out of the ship without dying.
Well, yeah, we don't have any exosuits.
You also have limited air, so you have to. You might not be able to stay here.
No, I would potentially, like table talk, obviously, but I would potentially. Callaway would probably suggest that we go back and tell them that block is the source of the disturbance.
I guess we found it.
Yeah.
All right. I know what we're going to do. Guy Powers is going to step into Callaway's mouth and use his body as an exosuit, and we're going to check out this disturbance.
Holy shit.
That's how he gets revenge.
Oh, man.
Okay, so let's wrap up the episode. It's gone on a little bit longer this part of the recording. I think maybe we'll just do a quick round the table if there's anything that was particularly this is just a nominal kudos point moment. If anyone wants to call out anyone else's play before we wrap it up.
I liked Guy's jury-rigged airlock, so he could pull it from the comfort of his safe seat, whereas I nearly died closing the airlock.
Yes. I'll give a kudos to Callaway, who asked if he could slow the ship down by shooting his sniper rifle out of the airlock.
Well, then fuck it. I'll kudos myself.
I think
Bringing the sensor array in the first place. You dang jerks.
I'd like to kudos Ellis for breaking the ship.
Can I deduct kudos points from Ellis for breaking the ship?
Without Ellis, there would have been no episode. None of these cliffhangers would even exist. I'm doing this for the good of the show. The good of the show. I could have just easily meted my way through this game. We would have clocked it by now. Like, it would have been game over if I was playing to win. Come on.
Look, I think there's a lot of awesome sequences and a lot of good ideas, and I think this has probably been the best session you guys have had as a group. A lot more awesomeness flowing between you. I like the really creative ideas and building off each other's ideas and bouncing off that. That's awesome. Keep that up moving forward through the game. I think I was trying to be really flexible with what do we call it? It's there's a phrase I know that's on an awesome blog article somewhere, but it's called it's plausible.
Deniability by any chance?
No, not deniability. It's like
It just sounds cool.
It's plausibly reasonable. I think plausibly reasonable.
Yep.
So it's like, yes, there are some straps lying around somewhere. Yes, there's, it's plausible that, totally plausible that Ellis can figure this out. So, we'll try and help that along and help that skill grow along. So I was trying to be flexible where it was really plausible and not put up any roadblocks. But ultimately, yeah, you guys just totally had a hugely cinematic episode just there. That was awesome. That was like, if we're looking at like a season of a show, yeah, episode 3 or 4 is one of those big high drama moments. So it was really good. Well, kudos to the lot.
Man, kudos to Space Master for getting us that close to death. Like, all the time we've spent playing, we've never been that close. Like, I actually, for like probably 1 or 2 moments, thought we would actually be looking at re-rolling characters.
I thought
genuinely.
I might die. Before I thought about suggesting tying myself to the wall, I thought I was going to have to just open the airlock and get sucked out of it, basically.
Oh man, I was having so many "we are so fucked" moments.
Guy Powers, on the other hand, was not at all in fear of his life. He was having to sacrifice to both of you and fly this thing home on his own.
Oh man, but that was a really great session. I think everyone was like uber well balanced. Like, there was so much going on and so much interplay between the GM and all 3 characters. It was really cool. So
it was hot.
Kudos all around.
So just a quick summary then. Fate points status. Ellis is banking his on. He's got a couple. Parker's on 1.5, and Rick's dry. Sorry, guys, dry.
And Guy never likes to be dry.
So you're gonna have to think about how you invoke some negativity from your aspects to earn some fate points.
Nice.
This is cool. Awesome. So I guess the next session that we'll run of this will be in a fortnight, and maybe a week, depending on what happens in a week's time. So there's a few other options on the table for next week, but we're looking at maybe exploring starting a new series or a new campaign in another system. So we'll have a play around with, see what ideas come out of that, and
we'll keep you posted on the now once again active R4P Twitter account.
I'll point to it. Yeah. It's down there, guys. It's flashing in that corner, wink. And it's in the description probably.
Right.
Also, we're just pop in and say hi on Twitter or wherever. We've got a Discord server, which is just the 4 of us, or I think at the moment. But if you want to jump in there and hang out and say g'day, we're going to end up streaming at some point. So get in on that when Australia decides to install internet.
Just generally. Well, there's still some hope based on what we were talking about.
They've got an appointment, but it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah,
by 2 fucking years.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they called up and said, "Look, we'll be there between 2015 and 2040." So if you could be at home, that'd be great.
The entire time.
If you can just stay at home.
Oh god.
We'll just rock up. All right, no worries. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
Peace out.